Like I said, welcome everybody. My name is Alfredo Ramirez. I am the COO and the co-founder of Prosal. For those of you who are new to our community, Prosal is a request for proposals or RFP platform and business development community that makes it easy for agencies and consultants of all backgrounds and all sizes to find and win new clients from RFPs. Prosal is the only online platform that vets and shares high quality RFPs and provides you with the resources and the educational opportunities like this webinar to win those RFPs. Before Prosal, I was in the same position as many of you. I was the founder and president of All Ross Digital, a digital communications agency that served environmental organizations, nonprofits, and foundations. And again, I dealt with a lot of the same problems that you all dealt with. And in launching Prosal and getting to know so many of you, one thing has stood out that won't come as a surprise to anyone. Business development is tough. And it's not always easy to get a return on your efforts, whether that return is a hard win or a soft win, like an interview, feedback, or even a new connection. And I get it, right? I felt this when I was applying to my first few RFPs. And even after winning several of them, it was still so intimidating to apply, following up and asking for feedback, especially when I didn't get the response that I wanted to get. So we've heard those requests, and to help you improve your ability to compete for RFPs and other business opportunities, we've crafted these events as a response to those requests. What are we talking about today? Today is a particularly fun one that I'm excited about. We're talking about certifications. Certifications can be a game changer. They can open doors to new opportunities and new markets. Now, whether you are considering the WBENC, the NMSDC, the WBENC, by Black, or other city and state certifications or federal certifications and acronyms that may or may be unfamiliar to you, what we're going to be talking about today will equip you with the knowledge and the strategies to navigate the certification process with confidence. Today's webinar is led by a certification expert and an awesome human being, Samantha Williams, who is the founder and the president of Melanated Business Coaching and 628 Digital Design. Samantha is going to spend part of today demystifying the certification process. She's going to offer practical advice, tips, and real-world examples to help you and your business stand out. And we're also going to be sharing some of the things that we've seen work for Prosal, as well as the agencies and the consultants that Prosal has worked with over the last 3 years. This is a small, fairly intimate group. Feel free to chime in the chat with questions, comments, anything that you want to talk about or maybe point out, just very much like you all did with your introductions. I'd love to see it. And we'll also have reserved time at the end for dedicated Q&A. With that, on to the main event. Samantha, please take it away.
Thank you, Alfredo. That was awesome. I am happy to be here with the Prosal peeps over here. I want to get started. Before I start sharing my screen, I wanted to know, is there anyone who's currently certified? Do you have any business certifications? The MWBE, by Black, WBENC, HubZone, any of these? No. Okay, so we're starting from scratch. None yet. All right, Tess. Well, we're going to get started. Let me share my screen. There we go. So as Alfredo was saying, I am Samantha Williams. My company is 628 Digital Design, where I like to say we drive innovation through digital content, marketing, design, and strategy. This is my bio slide that I like to share. What makes me qualified? Who am I? What makes me qualified to teach on this subject? What do I do? Here's a little bit of my background. So in addition to 628, I also own a nonprofit. It is CMWP Foundation. We have a membership program under that, the Collaboration of Minority Women Professionals. And so the nonprofit is it's an entrepreneurial support organization empowering Black and minority men, women, and children. Oh, I am also the owner of Melanated Business Coaching, where in addition to business coaching, we do the technical assistance like we have here. I assist people with getting and understanding the certification process, and also grant sourcing, writing, review, and submission. I serve on several boards and commissions in the local community. Down on the left are some of the awards and accolades myself and the business have received over the years. And on the right is that alphabet soup of certifications that we are here to talk about today. So these are all of my business certifications. You'll see like New York City, New York State, WBE, but I'm also certified WBE in 6 other states and 2 other cities. And the same for the NMSDC, and then we have WBENC with the woman owned. So we are going to dig into the certification process, and this is our agenda. As Alfredo said, I like to make it interactive. So if you have questions, feel free to throw them in chat, come off of mute if it makes it easier for you. But we're going to go through all of these things because there's a lot to unpack with your business certifications. So first and foremost is, I have to move you guys over here. You're blocking my screen. Okay. The benefits of certifications. So the main thing is you're increasing your competitiveness, because when you have a business certification, you're now part of this exclusive group of set-asides. The set-asides are the woman-owned small business, WBE, Buy Black is getting into that now. But with the set-asides, these agencies are saying, we want to only give this procurement opportunity to people who are certified. So even if you're a woman-owned small business, if you're not a certified woman-owned small business, you're not included in that exclusive set-aside program. There's also the inclusion in search databases. So when I was chatting with Alfredo, I was explaining to him how we gained our government contract. And so our government contract is with NOAA, and we are a certified woman-owned small business, a WBENC. And that procurement was coming out only for certified women-owned small businesses. So when that procurement opportunity came out, the procurement officer contacted me directly because she found me in the database they have for the SBA. So she contacted me, she emailed me the notification and let me know what's coming out as a sources sought. I submitted it. She emailed me to make sure I submitted it. It came out as an RFP, and I knew that because she emailed me to tell me it was coming out as an RFP. She sent me the RFP when it was ready. And then you have a few weeks to work on it. She emailed me during that time to make sure I was submitting a proposal for that RFP. And then the day before it was due, I submitted it. She confirmed it. And then we ended up getting that contract. And that's because we were in that database. The same happens with, I'm in Connecticut. So we are a certified small minority business enterprise in Connecticut, and we're on that database. So we have people who contact us and say, we're going after this opportunity. Would you like to be a subcontractor? And that's because these organizations, a lot of them now have procurement goals where they want to make sure a percentage of their spend is going to these set aside organizations. And we're going to go through that more. So as you see, there are access to more opportunities. If you're not on the list, if you're not certified, you do not have access to it. But there's also, in addition to procurement, a lot of people think I get my business certification, I'm going to get a contract. No, I've been a certified woman-owned small business for almost 9 years. And we just got our first federal contract 2 years ago. It also got extended twice, so we're excited about that. But it's a long game. You have to be prepared and ready to maintain your certification year after year, maintain relationships that you're building, and be ready to hopefully obtain that procurement opportunity when it comes out. So networking and mentorship. I actually met my first mentor at a WBENC. WBENC, we're going to get into, certifies you at the national level as a women's business enterprise. So WBENC had a lunch and learn with one of their corporate members here in Shelton, Connecticut. And I ended up meeting my mentor at that lunch and learn. We both showed up. So that's another piece of it. You have to be present. We showed up, we interacted with each other, we exchanged information. She became my mentor. Then you have the professional development piece of it. I've completed certificate programs from Wharton School of Business, from CVS Health, from Waste Management. WBENC has tons of educational and professional personal development resources. and the NMSDC also. And so taking advantage of these trainings that are available to you. I just got notification this week. I was accepted into another WBENC program called We Grow. So there's tons of information available for certified businesses. Introduction to Fortune 500 companies. So just how we had that on-site, in-person lunch and learn here in Connecticut, you have access to webinars where they say how to do business with Lockheed Martin, how to do business with Target, and you have access to those procurement officers in those agencies. But in addition to that, a lot of them offer matchmakers, and I've been going to matchmakers for 8-9 years now. And the matchmaking events are really cool. Since COVID, a lot of them are online. And what the online system does is it takes the buyer, so the government or the corporate member, and they list the products and services that they are interested in buying. And then when I register, I'm registering as a supplier or a seller, and I'm listing the products and services that I sell. The online system then matches these two, and then we have a matches page. If you go to your matches page on these the matchmaker websites, it'll list all of the agencies that you've been matched with, and you can go into their profile and you can see what products and services they are buying. You can message them through there. You can email them if their email's available, and then there's a calendar function where you can schedule a matchmaker, which is usually a 5 to 10 minute quick meeting just to introduce your company. And then the purpose of that is to schedule a later meeting to follow up. So those are some of the primary high-level benefits of certifications. I see we have some stuff in chat, so I'm just checking that right quick. Oh, the New York City MWBE process. Who is that? Jesse. So we're certified New York State, New York City. New York City is a lot easier than the New York State process. But if you can get through the New York State process, that will be really, really great. A lot of the city agencies, they want you to be certified with the city, but they also want you to be, the larger state agencies want that state certification. We actually, New York City MWBE process is managed through the Department of Small Business Services, and we are one of their past vendors. So we did editing and proofreading for some of the New York City guides, and that was also because we have the certification. So these are the different types of certifications that we're going to go over. You're welcome. We have the federal, that's the SBA, the national, that's WBENC and NMSDC. Then you have industry specific, and then we have ESG and sustainability. Which reminds me, I just blew right past my B Corp certification, which we're not really going to talk about B Corp because that's its own entity, and that is an arduous process that I think if you are mission driven, you should definitely look into it. And they also have a level program, which is for Black and Indigenous women who own businesses that want to become a certified B Corp. So look out for more information about B Corp. So federal certifications. I like to update the PowerPoint with the most recent information. So the government buys everything. Every single thing that's for sale, the government, they buy it in some way. So far this year, the government has spent almost $4.5 trillion total everywhere, which is an increase of 8% or 331 billion from the same time last year. So this is taking the data from the end of May this year. So October to end of May. So this is current state as of end of May. The government has spent $4.5 trillion. So if you're wondering if the government's ever going to buy from you, there's possibilities. And this is the government small business contracting scorecard. So last year, the government spent a total of 178 billion with small businesses. So those are those set-asides, the women-owned small business, veteran-owned, hub zone, the disadvantaged businesses. Total of 178 billion was spent last year. And if you go to this website here, if you hover over it, it will actually tell you the actual percentage. So the government has goals that they want to reach. when it comes to spending with these different certified organizations. So these are the set asides down here: small business, disadvantaged, women owned, service disabled, veteran owned, hub zone. Red is the goal. Blue is if they achieved it. And so women owned small businesses, they have traditionally had a 5%. Hey, Tess, we love you too. Are you a B Corp? If not, you become a B Corp. Get in here. They've always had a goal of 5%. This is the first time I'm seeing that they reached the 5% spend with women-owned businesses. It's usually like 4.5 or 4%. Disadvantaged business enterprise, you could tell they reached that also. So remember, the federal contract that we have is a WASB. So that's why she was so eager to contact me, because awarding us the contract helps the government reach their goals. So here you can see how much the government is spending. And this right here, just so you know, this is a prime contracting achievement. So the government tracks how many prime contracts meet these qualifications, and also how many subcontracts. A subcontract is if, so for instance, I'm working with a federal agency now. They are the prime. They're a huge multi-billion-dollar agency. They have contracts that they're going after, and they want to pull us in as a sub. So we would count as a sub under the federal government's subcontracting goals. They would count as a prime if they meet any of these designations. And also another thing to note, all of these set-asides have a revenue cap. So once you reach a certain level of revenue, you're no longer eligible to have this certification. So that's how the government keeps it diverse and inclusive, by keeping a cap on it. I don't have the number on me, but I want to say the cap is somewhere around 25 to 50 million. So until you reach there, you're able to maintain this. Later, we'll talk about the 8A certification. I know organizations who reduce their revenue. They stopped taking clients because they didn't want to lose their 8A designation. So sometimes it's strategic on how you're going to work your certifications. So here is the small business goals for 2024 for the U.S. government, and then it's broken down by agency. So you can see the different agencies on the left, and then you can see what their goals are. So these are their prime goals for each program. So small business, disadvantaged, disabled, veteran. And then over here on this side are the subcontracting goals. So they are all actively trying to reach their goals, and we wanted to go higher, right? How hard is it for the government to spend 5% of $4 trillion on women-owned small businesses? But apparently it's a little hard. So we want them to increase their goals, but they know it's not realistic for them. Here you can see how much the government spent per NAICS code. So NAICS code are your industry-specific codes. That's NAICS up here, NAICS code or PCS code. And so I tried to include some of the more service-based businesses, but you can see like research and development, the government spent about maybe 4 billion, 3.5 billion. Engineering services, same. Facilities support services, they're almost at 15 billion, right? So if you're in a facilities type business, in my nonprofit membership group, we have a janitorial business. She would be grouped in that 15 billion, right? That shows the opportunity that's out here. Administrative and management, that's one of my NAICS codes. So they're just under 2 billion. Software publishers, they're about maybe 1 billion. So this shows the type of spend the government is fueling and putting into those certified businesses. So when we look at the socioeconomic designations, these are some of the ones that I was talking through. You have the women-owned small business, economically disadvantaged women-owned small business, the certified disadvantaged business, you have your 8A, and then the veterans. You have veteran-owned and the service disabled veteran-owned. And then you have a veteran small business certification, which is the VET cert. There's also the Hub Zone certification. Hub Zone is going to vary. Everyone's not eligible for the Hub Zone. Hub Zone is based on the zip code, not even the zip code, the actual location of where the work is performed. So I live here and I may be eligible for certified hub zone, but my neighbor right next door may not be. And that's because of the government and how they specify who's eligible. So for my business, I live in a hub zone, but we're not eligible for hub zone certification because I have 3 other employees who I have to put in everyone's address, the exact address where they perform their work. They don't live in hub zones. So there's a percentage that the government needs of all staff. Once I believe it's 50 or 60%. Once you reach that, then you're eligible for hub zone. So if I end up moving people on my team, I add new people, I can keep going back to the hub zone website and checking to see if we're eligible now. The GSA schedule is a vehicle to doing business with the federal government, same as the 8A. The 8A is a 5-year program. Once you're certified, you have 5 years that you're in the program. Every year you have to do reporting back on it. And with the GSA schedule, it's a whole convoluted process to get on the GSA schedule. But once you're on the GSA schedule, there are opportunities that are only designated for those on the schedule. So there are many organizations working to get on the GSA schedule just so that they can have those opportunities. And then we have the small mentor protege program. That's through the SBA also. And with that, you as a small business will identify a mentor that you want to work with you during this program. And the mentor follows the rubric and the curriculum set up by the SBA to help you get contract ready, help you get procurement ready so that you're able to navigate those conversations, databases, and able to get those certifications and contracts. Any questions so far? So Tess, my creative operations manager, just told me she's in Milwaukee, and she just told me she became the marketing chairperson of the Be Local Milwaukee. So yes, stay connected with your Be Locals. So that was a lot to process with government federal contracting, but there are resources available for free to assist you as you're navigating this. So you have the SBA. SBA provides people resources to help you navigate sam.gov. Is anyone here registered in sam.gov already? Because that's a whole beast. But also sam.gov is now being required for local, city, and state municipality contracting. So if you're not in sam.gov already, go to sam.gov and start that process. If you have issues with navigating sam.gov, contact your local SBA office and they have people to help you. The same with the SBDC. That's the so the SBA is Small Business Administration. The SBDC is the Small Business Development Centers. And the SBDC will assign you a person who will work with you as you're navigating corporate and federal contracting. SBA doesn't get involved on the corporate side. And then you have Apex Accelerators. Apex Accelerators were formerly PTAC, PTAC. Apex Accelerators also help you get set up in sam.gov. They hold your hand with you. They can give you templates for capability statements. And they are really great resources. Apex, I love our Apex Accelerator here in Connecticut. I went from using them as, needing help, not knowing what a capability statement was, not understanding the GSA schedule, navigating the federal landscape, to now I also facilitate webinars and training for them. So I think that went full circle. Are there any options for women-owned businesses where they own 50%? All the ones I have seen have to be 51%. All of them have to be 51%. That's Eric. Women have to be certified as a woman-owned small business, women have to be majority owner. So if it's split 50-50, you're not going to get certified as a woman-owned small business because it's not technically a woman-owned small business. It's shared. And also, there are people who go and put their wife on, their cousin on as 51% ownership, woman-owned small business. But when you're going through that certification process, WBENC or with the government, you are you're notarizing documents. You are stating and testifying that the woman listed on that application is the one running day-to-day operations. She is the one in charge. Everything stops at her, is what you're certifying. So if that's not the case, and you have a woman in that position, I hope you don't get audited. So you want to make sure for women-owned small business, and it's the same for minority-owned business, you have to have 51% ownership. Veteran is 51% ownership or more. Prosals and Sam and getting those cage codes so we can get our 8A and hub zone. Yes, 8A is a process, Alfredo. You'll figure that out once you start going through that. Florida SBDC was essential. Yes. SBDC it's a great organization. I actually was just emailing our SBDC here because we want them to do some training for my nonprofit on a program we're doing. These are free resources that you should be taking advantage of. Go to each of their websites, get on their email list. That's what I tell everyone. Get on the email list, stay up to date. They also provide training. All of these organizations provide trainings. The only one I don't have here, because it's not really I guess it is federal, but it's smaller, are your women's business centers, the WBCs. Here in Connecticut, we have the WBDC, the Women's Business Development Center or Council. But they do more than just help women. They help people of all genders. Get on their email list and you can stay up to date with what they're doing and get the resources that you need. Now we're going to shift. We're going to go from federal to corporate, the national certifications. So these are some of your certifying agencies and the different types of certifications. So on the corporate side, you have your WMSBE, your DBE. Your WBE is your Women's Business Enterprise. SBE, Small Business Enterprise. MBE, Minority Business Enterprise. And then you have the DBE, which is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise through your local DOT. So for the DBE, you're going to first get initially certified in your home state, whatever state your business is registered in. If you want to get certified in other states, you're going to have to send that other state your initial application that you submitted after you get certified, along with proof that you are certified as a DBE. And then you can have interstate certification as a DBE. So I'm certified DBE in, I think, 7 states. We just got another one last week. And part of that is because these are all proposals from Prosal, of course. And so as I'm looking at these are RFPs. As I'm looking at the RFPs, a lot of these agencies and organizations are giving you extra points in your proposal if you have a DBE or MWBE in their state. And it's usually very easy, especially because now I have all my documents and everything together. So if I see I can get 10 extra points on my proposal if I'm certified, part of me writing my proposal is going to their website, figuring out how to get certified and obtaining that certification. These are free or low cost. I think I've seen very few that actually charge you for certification, and that's throughout the country. And so these are the organizations that would certify you at the national level. These are the corporate ones for MWBE, right? WBENC, we've been certified WBENC for almost 9 years. That's the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. It's pronounced WBENC. I'm in the New York, it's New York, DC. I forget what they call it, but I'm in the New York, DC version of WBENC. So we are WBEC. So they don't have the N in there. So we're WBEC, New York, DC. And then you have the NMSDC. That's the National Minority Supplier Development Council. These are all regional. So I'm in the Greater New England Minority Supplier Development Council because I'm located in Connecticut. If I was in New York, then I would be in the New York NMSDC. Buy Black is a fairly new one. I believe it's about 2 years old. We got that certification as soon as it came out. Buy Black is actually free. So if you have a Black-owned business, again, 51% ownership or more, then you can also apply for the Black-owned business certification. And that is through the U.S. Black Chambers and Buy Black. And so those organizations are now working with the government to have an official BBE certification, just like we have WASB, MWBE, and so we want to also include the BBE, where it just becomes standard. And then you have the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, the NGLCC. So if you fall under that category, that's an additional certification that you can get. You do want to keep in mind that all of these cost money, except for Buy Black. All of these cost money. I want to say WBENC is about $300. NMSDC is about $500. And the NGLCC is about $300 also. So as you're thinking about your certifications, you also want to be thinking about your business budgets and how much do you have prepared to spend on your certifications, knowing these also renew annually. WBENC and NMSDC have previously offered reimbursement or scholarship or sponsors of their certification. So this last year when I did my NMSDC certification, it was a reimbursement. So I paid the $400 or $500 up front, and then through a program they had with Lowe's, I was able to be reimbursed that amount. So you want to take that into consideration also. Any questions? Tess says, how do we be strategic about which to join? Which will be the highest ROI? So you want to think, remember the slide I showed in the beginning with the different benefits? You want to think about which ROI is most important to you. One thing I do recommend, though, is starting with these free certifications, because this is going to get you familiar with the process. This is going to help you get your documents together, understand what they're looking for, get used to getting documents notarized. Sometimes you have to write, they'll ask for things you just don't have. So then you'll learn, right? You go through the process. They're asking for me for this. I've never even heard of this. So you communicate with them. I don't have this. And then they may say on company letterhead, just state that this is non-applicable to our business, and then go get that notarized, and then upload it to the system, and then wait for a response. So it's a whole process, but getting your free certifications first will get you exposure to it. It'll get you access to it where you can start to understand what's expected. And then once you start with the free, then you probably want to dip into and also the federal certifications are free. So federal, local, city and state, and then the paid national, if you're worried about ROI, expense, things like that. You also want to think about where's your target audience. If you plan on primarily doing business with the federal government, then you want to start with the federal government. Those are free. So you do your women-owned small business, your disadvantaged business, and you get those certifications. Government usually asks for a lot more information, especially when you go through the AA process, than the corporate. So you want to think about, once I get this and we think about the benefits, am I immediately looking for a contract? Am I hoping to get into community so I can network with other small business owners? Do I want to meet the networking events? Is that most important to me, because I can learn directly from people in those organizations what they're looking for. So identify what's important to you. How are you measuring your ROI? And also remember, just because you have a certification doesn't mean you're automatically getting the contract. I've been in business 9 years and I've learned that. So
Samantha, I got one question as well, just on this, and it carries on Tessa's question, which is, are there any of these certifications that open up doors or make it easier for follow-on certifications, kind of like the New York example? Whether it's because either you've already collected those documents or by virtue of that certification, it is something that you can prove to say, I already got this certified at this level, can I get the certification at this other level?
Great question. And I would say it is helpful when you are trying to obtain like MWBE certification in another city or state. Because they will ask for, sometimes they call it the interstate. There's like there's another term they use for it, where they will they will quickly process your application because you've already proved that you have these certifications already. So WBENC is an example of that. If you get certified as an MWBE and you submit that, fast track it. That's what they do. They fast track your application because some of these applications can take months to process. And before it even gets to the back and forth exchange of we need this, you're missing that, I need this tax return. Before they even process it, it could be 2 to 3 months. And then they put you into the system. Port Authority certification opens the door to New York City and New York State, and that's through the fast track. So we also have the NFTA with the Port Authority in New York. They will fast track it. I want to say, no, it's not Con-Edison. Metro North has one where if you have the New York City, New York State, you can also be fast tracked. But see, those are like sister agencies. They're all in the state of New York. So when they're like that, the other thing is the DBE. Once you have a DBE, that was a very long process with the DBE. One thing I don't have in here is these certifying agencies do site visits. So before COVID, they came to my house to do site visits to see who was actually running the business. So we talk about the 51% ownership and making sure if it's a woman, there's actually a woman in charge that's doing it. Now they're doing virtual site visits. So we get on Zoom, I show them around, I tell them this is where the magic happens. We have the desk, we have file cabinets, and I'm the one here doing the tour. I'm the one who submitted the application. And so that's their proof that you have successfully proved that you meet that set aside criteria. This was an issue with the federal government because the WBENC, Women-Owned Small Business, was previously a self-certified process. And there were a lot of people going and getting the Women-Owned Small Business certification who did not identify as women or women-owned small businesses. And now because of that, the WBENC, Women-Owned Small Business certification, is through a third party. So when WBENC also does the SBA's Women-Owned Small Business. So when I apply to renew my WBE with WBENC, I'm also selecting, yes, I also want to apply for the Women-Owned Small Business certification. And then they will oversee that. They'll do the documentation check and all that. And then once I'm awarded, then I need to go into the SBA certify website and upload my certificate that proves I've been granted certification this year. Jesse says, I've been advised to complete New York City MWBE, then go to New York State and Port Authority. Do you have any insights how difficult it is and what the processes look like? New York City is definitely a lot easier than New York State. New York State is done in Albany, I believe. Like you could tell it's a disconnect from the city to state. New York City is, all of them use, when you get into the certification system, they all use the same system, all of them. So if I go into the certification system, I can see every single one of my certifications throughout the entire country. Once you're in there, you can reuse a previous application. That way you're not redoing it all over again. So if you're doing New York City and then New York State, I would replicate that New York City application for New York State. The New York State asks for more information. It's very challenging. They don't make it easy. It's like the AA. They don't make it easy to get New York State certified. But once you get it, you're in. The only thing I would say is when you're going through the certification application process, build relationships with the certifying people, the person who's on the opposite side of the email. Don't be rude to them. It is New York. Don't be rude to them. Give them what they ask for. I just had this issue with an FTA, the Niagara Transportation for my New York DBE. And with them, the issue was with DBE, you don't have to do a new application every year. You have to do an affidavit of, I forget what it's called, but it's some kind of affidavit you have to put in to say recertification affidavit, nothing has changed in the business. My NAICS codes are the same. And so I had submitted an application instead of the affidavit. So the guy emailed me back and said, this is what you actually need to submit. Go get this notarized and email it to me, and I'll upload it directly into the system for you. So that's what I did. But then I keep getting notifications saying your application is going to expire, your application is going to expire. So then I email him and say, hey, I got this notification. Do I need to do anything? And he says, nope, you don't have to do anything. You're all set, because he already sent me my new certification letter. So he said those will stop after like 45 days or so, but you're fine. So understanding that the person on the opposite side of those emails, the people pushing back and saying, we need more, those are actual people. And if you build relationships with them, it'll make the process go a little easier. I'm just starting out and starting with the Port Authority certification and SBA's DBE program. That's the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise through the SBA. DOT is the one I was just talking about. They also have the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, I believe you need to be making less than 5 to 10 million. So if you're less than 5 to 10 million, you're considered disadvantaged. Are there any nonprofit organizations providing support through these processes? So the ones that I mentioned here, the SBA, SBDC, Apex accelerators, they will help with your federal government certifications. They do not help with WBENC, NMSDC. But I do. That's why I'm here, because I can help you. Because it is an arduous process. And a lot of people, it's a long game. A lot of people don't have the patience to continue following up, sending emails, uploading documents. So here are your industry-specific certifications. You have your OSHA, your ISO. A lot of these are environmental, sustainability type certifications. Then you have your process improvement. I'm a certified Lean Six Sigma, Green Belt in Six Sigma. So you have Lean, you have Six Sigma, then you have your PMP for project management, or your Scrum Master. And then we got the B Corp. We already talked about the B Corp. B Corp is through B Lab. So when you're ready to start your certification process, this is a list of some of the information they're looking for. Depending on who you are applying for certification through, they may require something else. One thing that's missing off of this is the sam.gov. So it's getting impossible to register for certification at the city and state level without sam.gov. So you want to start with sam.gov. And then you want to start getting all of these documents together. You want to create a folder on your computer. You want to, matter of fact, Alfredo, you have a process for this.
I do. So we applied to, Prosal was first incorporated in Florida. We reincorporated in Delaware just for internal reasons. But when we were in Florida, we applied to and got the Florida minority owned business certification, which has made it really easy for us to apply to the one in Delaware and kickstart the process at the federal level. And so what we did was we used ClickUp as our task project management tool, very similar to any other project management tool like Asana or Trello or other things that you might be using. And so we broke out every single requirement. There were like 12 or 13 things that we needed to submit in order to be considered, including our local business tax receipt, the proof of citizenships, resume, CVs, articles of incorporation, like 3 notarized documents. And so even though we had all that information, we had it in our email, we had it in Google Drive, what we did is we created this task and ClickUp with a bunch of subtasks that for each individual requirement, we labeled that task by the name, right? So we said like proof of citizenship was the name of the task, and we uploaded the document to the task, and then we closed it out, which now makes it easy because then we can replicate that task and update the requirements. And if we say, well, we need a proof of US citizenship, we can copy the task and then have that document already appended, or simply search for it, kind of like an internal wiki, and we'll have easy access to that rather than having to go into Google and see if we have to get the most recent document. We're always pulling the most updated document related to what that ask is, and it's something that's worked for us a ton. So that's just something that Prosal has been doing, and want to share that as a tip for y'all.
Yes, thank you. because this can be an arduous process to track down all this information, to find it time and time and time again, and upload it. It becomes a lot. But I want to share this so you can see the type of information documents they're looking for, especially like the AA. They want to know all of your financial investment information, all of your retirements, any property that you own. Of course, your P&L, balance sheet, and all of that, 3 to 5 years of taxes, your all of your debt. Starting this process early on, I had to learn what a bank signature card is, because I'm like, I have a debit card, it's a signature card. And going through this process, I've now learned signature card is a letter from the bank that says these are the people who are able to make transactions in the bank, who can move money in the bank. That's your bank signature card. I learned that going through the certification process. They will require a capability statement. If you don't have that, you need to start building your capability statement. And then we have the RFP databases. So of course, we're all here because we love Prosal. Alfredo, I'll let you speak to how Prosal differs from the others.
Yes. So if you're signed up to any of these, or maybe you're not signed up to any of these, but Prosal does source and validate RFPs and RFIs, RFQs, tons of other documents, and we pull out a lot of information, especially the requirements and certification needs, right? So Samantha was talking about the set-asides earlier, or sources sought, or preferences. So we pull all that information out very easily for folks to see, along with other information related to the project or vendor preferences. That's something that very few, I don't think I've seen really anyone else do that, and really take an RFP and all the universe of RFPs, which if you've read more than 5 RFPs, you'll know that no 2 RFPs are alike. All of them are different. They're structured in incredibly different ways, and they can be 2 or 200 pages, but we make it easy to really simplify and digest the information so that you can quickly determine, is this right for me, or should I move on to the next thing? One thing I'll note, a lot of these sources, including SAM, Instant Markets, are ones that you will find on Prosal. We're working to get all of these and more on there by the end of the year. And if there's anything that you ever see on Prosal that you would like, that you don't see on Prosal that you've seen elsewhere, let us know. We're happy to find a way to build a partnership with that organization so we can bring their materials on there and you can see it in the Prosal format. And moreover, if you see a private opportunity, something that you do not want to share with other people, you just want to see it for yourself, you can also send it our way. We can upload it as a private opportunity that will only be available to you. And you can also see that in the simplified Prosal format.
Awesome. And I will say I am registered on all of these databases. Just like I tell you, go to these websites, get on their mailing list, register. And I don't see any of those services that Alfredo just mentioned offered through any of these other database services. So you want to, when you're on these, just like Prosal, you do want to make sure that you are inputting the correct industry codes, your NAICS codes, the best keywords to match to those opportunities, any of those solicitations that are out there, because you don't want to miss them. And you're going to miss them if you're not putting in the right information. It's only going to feed you what information based on what you gave it. So always use the right keywords. So now that you have your certifications, you want to market it. You want to share it, just like I got this B Corp down here. You want to share it. You want to let everyone know you are certified. So include it, of course, in your RFP proposals. I'm certified in a lot of places. So in my RFP on page 1 of the company overview, the last paragraph outlines every single certification we have. You want to add it to your website. So I do also on the bottom of my website have all of the certifications listed. You can also include the logos of those certification agencies. Use social media hashtags. I use hashtag MWBE, WOSB, DBE, and just incorporate it. Of course, certified B Corp, because people follow hashtags. So they don't even need to follow you. They can follow your hashtags. Oh, we have it on the website twice. Add it to your marketing materials. So I don't think I have any business cards in here. On the back of my business cards, it lists all of the logos so that people can see that I'm certified. Add it to your capability statement. So the WBENC, the NMSDC, the SBA, If you have HubZone, if you have veteran business, whatever certifications you have, you want to make sure you have logos and you want to update those. The SBA just updated their certification logos. So you want to make sure you're keeping up to date with the logos, the imagery, and how to communicate your certifications. We talked about attending the matchmakers and networking events and letting people know we are certified. Attending agency conferences. So the NMSDC and WBENC, they do national conferences every year. You go with your marketing materials that have your certifications on there, and it's an easy way for you to market and let people know by easily looking at this that you are also certified. And we mentioned registering in the different databases using your NAICS codes and your industry codes. You're welcome, Jesse. And so this is my information. I'm here to assist you. We do provide technical assistance, and what I do is hold your hand through the entire process for it. All you have to do is give me your documents, answer some questions I may have, and then I'm the one going into the system and I do the certification process for you. I communicate with the agencies and provide any updates. The only thing I would need from you is to go get your documents notarized and then send that to me, and then I take care of the entire process, and you don't have to worry about any of this. And then we just have questions. Thank you, everyone. I'm glad you came. Shout out to my mother who attended. Thank you, Alfredo, for having me. And we're all done.
Amazing. Perfect. So let me just set myself up in here. Like Sammy said, we got a few minutes. We can definitely take in a few questions. So feel free to take yourselves off mute, or write in the chat. I know some folks are dropping off. So as you're dropping off, I will note there is a survey. Would love for you all to take that survey as you're heading out, if you have to head out right now, so that we can get feedback for Prosal on these events. And so Sammy here can get feedback on the presentation as well, and we can continue to improve this. But all right, we still got a few people in here. I definitely have a few questions. I've already got to ask one, but is there, Sammy, I guess the one that you kind of alluded to earlier, but I know a lot of the folks that that sometimes use Prosal or are even part of these webinars work only with social impact clients, nonprofits, private companies. Is this something that they should think about when it comes to their client work?
You definitely want to think about it, because these RFPs are looking for certification. I have tons of RFPs right here. Maybe all of them will ask, share your certification, MWBE, submit proof of it. I have now some of these RFPs are even asking for your ESG and sustainability. So when you're thinking about the mission-driven organizations, the nonprofits, they are requiring it in their suppliers because it matters to their stakeholders. What vendors are they working with? How are these vendors certified? What do these vendors think are important? What are their values? So definitely for the mission driven and the nonprofits, yes.
Amazing, thank you. Any other questions?
No, well, thank you. I'm honored to be here. This was a great session. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Amazing, Sammy. Thank you so much for joining us, y'all. Thank you so much for being here. We'll send an email out tomorrow with the recording with all the resources mentioned here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out. Sammy did drop her info in the chat. You also have my info, and you'll be getting that email from me. Otherwise, y'all have a wonderful and fantastic rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll all be in touch soon.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.